are you doing today? What's your name?
Justin.
Hi Justin, I'm Carrie. I'm going to be evaluating your spine, and that's going to require me to go from the base of your skull about down to your belt line. And if I need to expose any scan in that area, will that be okay with you?
Yep.
Alright, so I'm going to have you take off your shirt, and I'm going to check the table. Okay, seems pretty good. So I'm going to have you sit down and face that way. Alright. Okay, can you go ahead and lay face down for me here? Alright, you can go ahead and sit up. So as I was assessing the SI joint, I felt restriction on the right SI joint. So I evaluated the anterior and posterior glide of ilium relative to sacrum, and there was flexion restriction. So there was restriction on the anterior glide of, it's posterior. There was I don't know which one it is, so.
Just tell her, and then we'll just splice this out and splice it back together. Which one is it?
Flexion restriction.
Flexion restriction.
Yeah, but.
You didn't rock the leg this way and that way.
Yes, you did.
Did you? I didn't see that. Make sure you cut all this out. Sorry.
Ready to
Flexion
slow down?
restriction.
Yeah.
Flexion restriction is posterior glide of ilium.
Yes.
Okay. So there was flexion restriction, and which is restriction of the posterior glide of ilium relative to sacrum. Can you crush your eyes for me? Relax. This isn't the same segment. Doesn't matter. I'm sorry. Alright, got your arms again. I'm just gonna dip that out. Alright. Okay, put your arms up. Okay, so I stopped at the thoracic segment number 7, and I felt flexion restriction. So my segmental contact point was damn it. Are we there? Alright. So I'll have you push on. In.
blocking the movement. I couldn't see it. You came up like this, so I can't see what you're doing.
Alright, you can relax. So SS thoracic segment T7, and felt restriction on flexion. My segmental contact point of the spinous processes, and I was looking for the segments to close and open. Then for lateral bending rotation, my segmental contact point was either side of the spinous process, and I was feeling for a spongy end feel, and what I felt was a right lateral flexion restriction on T7. And the ribs, elevation and depression, no restrictions. Checking for elevation of the ribs, then I went up 2 interspinous spaces and out laterally an inch. And to check for elevation, I was on the superior angle of the rib, and I pushed straight I to S. And to check for depression, I moved to the superior angle of the rib, and I pushed straight S to I. And can you just lean back on me?
His head is so big.
Can't see.
Is that comfortable, Carrie?
Okay, you can sit up. Okay, so I'm assessing the occiput. I placed my fingers on the mastoid and slid down into the space between the mastoid process and the TPs of Atlas, and I was in that space there. And first I felt for flexion extension, and then I felt for rotation, and I was feeling for the TP of Atlas to move forward in either direction. And then upon lateral bending, I was feeling for that space to close down, and there was restriction on left lateral